This white paper serves to document the previous 10 to 15 years of the life cycle of ethanol, offer a snapshot of the current status of the biofuel, and further to suggest a predicted future for the next 5 to 10 years. Ethanol is not a new discovery. Instead, it is a possible old solution to a new problem. Archaeological digs in northern China have unearthed dried residue on Neolithic pottery that suggests alcohol uses dates back almost 9,000 years. It is thought that the fermented beverages of rice and honey sprung up around the same time brewed barley beer was appearing in the Middle East. In 1796, Johann Tobias Lovitz, a German-Russian chemist and pharmacist, was the first to create pure ethanol by drying distilled ethanol through charcoal. Ethanol has been used in the United States since the early days of the automobile. Many tractors and even the Model T were designed to use pure alcohol and gasoline. Henry Ford believed, maybe 100 years prematurely, that ethanol was the fuel of the future. Ethyl alcohol, drinking alcohol, ethyl hydrate, fermentation alcohol, methyl carbonyl, molasses alcohol, spirits of wine, or grain alcohol are all alternate names for ethanol. The choice of name is usually dependent on the application. Ethanol is a flammable, colorless, slightly toxic chemical compound commonly present in the liquid form. Ethanol may have been around for almost 9,000 years, but the current demand and interest for fuel alcohol really started in the early 1970s with the Arab oil embargo. National fear and a recession was a perfect catalyst for development of vehicles that could use ethanol as a primary fuel source. Although the ethanol process is under continual research and advancement, most industrial production today uses similar techniques to those used by the British physicist and bookbinder Michael Faraday in 1828. The United States government has assisted the advancement of research with several key legislations that make it profitable for private sector to invest capital into this biofuel. The greatest use of ethanol currently is as a fuel and fuel additive. Brazil is the largest national market for ethanol, with a reported 50% of their automobiles running on 100% ethanol fuel source. Unlike the United States, that uses corn as a primary source for ethanol, Brazil uses sugarcane as its base. Sugar can yield a greater amount of energy, and it is easier to extract during the production process. The byproduct of the ethanol production is even being recycled in power plants for the generation of electricity. New crops like sweet sorghum are being genetically modified to support and alleviate some of the demand on corn and sugarcane for ethanol in the United States. Corn waste is now becoming the subject of interesting research into the extraction of ethanol, which to this point has only been using the corn kernel. Cellulosic ethanol will aim to use the entire plant, like the husks and the stalks, for the production. The demand for ethanol is dependent currently on two distinctly different factors. The first factor is the United States' dependency on foreign oil. As tensions between Arab nations escalate in the Middle East, or relations sour between the United States and any oil-producing nation, the price of a barrel of oil reacts. Rising prices at the pump causes a public outcry, and elected officials react to their constituents. The subsidies on ethanol are partially the reaction to the price of oil. Even if the problems in the Middle East smoothed out, issues would exist with oil that would spur the development of ethanol, like the fact China is quickly becoming a global economy with a daunting need for oil to feed its industries and infrastructures. The second factor that is driving ethanol is the worries about the impact of fossil fuels on the environment. In the United States, ethanol is produced from corn, which is a renewable resource, which in turn gives the impression of being better for the environment. In the next 5 to 10 years, the demand for ethanol will sharply increase, fueled by the environmentally oriented consumer market. Ethanol is clearly not the answer to our oil import dependency, but it will take the market longer than 10 years to realize and react. Ethanol could possibly become a small component to a larger solution, like a hybrid vehicle, but the production process needs to evolve along with solving the transportation and combustion issues. Ethanol is a good step in the right direction, but it should not be the stopping point in our search for reducing the impact to the environment.